We watched The Illusionist and The Prestige, 2 movies that are generally regarded as good movies. We are in defense of good movies? Hey everybody, Sam Bowen here, and it is In Defense of Bad Movies. I am joined, as always, by Bobby Mattern.
What's up?
Laura King.
Hey.
And last but not least, Lauren Bowen.
The always outrageous Lauren Bowen.
Yes, that's the one. And we're taking a break from our normal format right now, and we are going to discuss the heat wave that the entire nation is facing. Guys, this is insane.
I hate it.
It's awful.
So
really
much.
bad. We're all gonna die.
And I think
thumbs down.
I think we really need to do something about it. And, with an election coming up, Donald Trump has some really interesting ideas about how to handle global warming.
Much.
I just think we need to listen to him.
I'm going to set this microphone down and leave.
Wait, I thought you were very pro-Trump.
Nope.
Because, I think a big wall is the first step toward just an air-conditioned country. Because you got to have...
That's right. You leave the doors open. That's the problem.
Yeah. But really, this is a different episode. For whatever reason, which I don't remember, we are going to be comparing 2 movies, The Illusionist and The Prestige. Who remembers why we're doing... What's this all about?
I think that originally I said that I liked The Illusionist better than The Prestige. And so I thought, it might be interesting to see if everyone liked one more than the other. And so I think, but they were both regarded on Rotten Tomatoes as fresh movies, so they have like a 70+.
I think it was like 74 for The Illusionist and 76 for The Prestige,
something like that.
Which is actually going to be interesting because that's too close to. That's close enough.
Yeah,
and it will be interesting to see where everyone stands because I like one way more than the other, so it's a bit surprising for me to see that they're so close. How's everyone else feel about that?
Yeah, no.
We were not supposed to watch Now You See Me.
Yeah.
Now You See Me 2, which should just have been called Now You Don't.
And of course, the reason we put these 2 together is besides the fact that they are very similar in tone. They're sort of, late 1800 magician mood pieces, but they were also released right at the same time in that heady winter of 2006 when it was one of those weird confluent studio things where just 2 very similar movies came out at the same time. And yeah, I had the same experience of watching both and absolutely thought one was the superior movie, and then everyone else seemed to think that the other was.
Really?
And that confounded me. Everyone I spoke to.
Okay. I was going to say, I have a crap memory, but I don't really remember how generally people took it.
I remember how shocked I was.
Should we talk about what
Sure.
our opinions are and then go and talk about the movies from
yeah.
that?
Or should we start with summaries?
Oh yeah,
So
let's
people know
start
what
with
we're
our...
talking about.
I'm just going to do serious summaries.
Should we do one for each?
Yes, of course.
Okay.
I think so too.
Okay, I'll start with The Prestige because I think I can do that one really fast.
What
How many
time?
seconds
yeah.
are we doing? Yeah.
I think. Wait, you're going to do the Prestige is the one that you can do really fast.
Yeah.
Yes, because
This
it's
is
not-
interesting. Okay.
I would have thought differently as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, go ahead.
Okay, so you have Hugh Jackman times 2 trying to
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm going to really.
Oh, I'm going to stop the clock.
I'm going to put a very serious plea out there. If our listeners have not seen the movies,
yes, spoiler.
please do, because they are good movies. They're not like our crap ones that if you didn't see it, you're not missing out. These are good movies, and we are going to get into serious spoilers here.
Yes.
So.
And they each can be spoiled. They're both very spoiled.
Yeah, very much so. So now you've been duly warned. If you keep listening, you're a dummy for not watching the other ones first. No, I'm not going to say that, but you really should watch them. Okay, so continue.
Okay, so in The Prestige you have rival magicians illusionist acts, Prestige, whatever you want to call them, Hugh Jackman and Christian Bale, and they have doubles anyway. And there's a lot of cat and mouse going on, and they try to one-up each other. And so that's kind of the movie. And then Christopher Nolan is kind of just showing off at how amazing he can be in front of the camera and how he can play all these illusions for you. So that's
I love that your synopses include judgment calls about the movie.
That was 28 seconds. That was pretty good.
I'm not, that may not be a judgment call. I'm just saying that was one thing.
Telling a director how amazing he is, that doesn't seem like a bad thing.
Or no, he's telling the world how amazing he is. How amazing he is. So.
Don't hide that light in that bushel. Right.
And then the Illusionist.
Start the clock.
Not the animated one, the one with Edward Norton, Paul Giamatti, and Jessica Biel, is about. It's a little harder for me to describe. It's kind of about a magician who has all these acts and anyway, it's because that one's a little bit more complicated because I have to actually do the synopsis of the story where, like, I can't just say, oh, he falls in love with, he's in love with Jessica Biel and then she's engaged to someone else and he wants to get her back and then she gets killed and then so he's kind of out for revenge over this count and Paul Giamatti is like the one narrating the whole movie. So
done.
I like
and that was 42 seconds.
What did you say? You're like, I actually have to do a synopsis for this one instead of just saying that the director was a blowhard who.
Who would bias?
Okay, so.
they're both.
So Laura has a favorite.
Which movie do you like of the two?
Well, so I went in thinking that The Illusionist, I liked that one better than The Prestige. And I don't know if I came out liking it better, but I really do not like The Prestige at all. I think that it tries a lot of interesting, I mean, none of the performances are that bad except Christian Bale. There's something about him in this movie that I just want to smack him. He's so smug. And I don't know, it really bothered me.
Do you normally like Christian Bale? Do you feel
yeah,
like
I like him enough. And
right.
And it was just like, there was that weird thing of like the anti-hero and the hero. And I think in my mind, Hugh Jackman was definitely the anti-hero in the movie and where Christian Bale was the hero. But then I preferred Hugh Jackman way more than Christian Bale.
Just because he's dreamier. That's all.
No, just because he's a more interesting character. I don't know. And I don't know, like Christian Bale was just annoying to me. I just wanted to
because he was two interesting characters.
You know what I learned from both of these movies is magicians are jerks.
They're such jerks.
They're all of them. They even
Eisenheim.
Even Eisenheim. Okay,
I think so. Yeah.
Eisenheim, I mean, I guess we're getting ahead of himself. He does straight up frame someone for a crime he didn't commit.
And they try to make it okay by saying like that
he probably
Crown
would have
Prince
committed that crime.
Probably
or
killed this
even
lady.
that he killed someone in the past. But even that's just
the
rumors.
rumor.
Yeah.
And he's not a nice guy. He's planning to overthrow his father. We don't know how bad of a king his father is.
And I mean, he was played by
Rufus Sewell.
Rufus Sewell.
No.
So already that's like one strike against him. This most likely
That's the
is a
shorthand
jerk.
for villain.
But he and Billy Zane, if you see one of those, he's not going to be a good guy.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But yeah, I felt I had more of a problem with that than I did the first time seeing the movie. Like, I know we're supposed to be rooting for you guys, but this is terrible.
Yeah, in both movies, I had that problem.
Yeah, and in the Prestige, both magicians were jerky.
They were just.
But that's certainly the point, of course.
Yeah,
I would argue
was
that
the
the
hero.
Prestige doesn't try to make a point of making you appreciate or
I agree.
sympathize.
Poor Rebecca Hall's character.
Oh, I know.
Like,
So
she's
tragic.
the one who just gets
I know.
shitted all over.
That was,
Yeah.
the sacrifices they made for their art. Were they worth it? Probably not.
I don't know.
And it really, I will say it felt like, we're going to get into, again, spoilers, that Christian Bale, is a pair of twins.
Uh-huh.
And he's got like one guy who's always in disguise the other time. It seems like...
One is nicer than the other?
Absolutely.
It seems like maybe when you're with the wife, make the one who actually loves her be with her.
But
more.
I don't know.
But they only switch on the trick, which makes it very hard when they do their transported man
Is that
trick.
the only
That's
time they ever
apparently
switched?
To like prevent any possible kind of someone catching them. That's the setup as the only time they switch, which sucks. What if you've got like a long weekend off? I'm surely they change other times. But yeah, it seems unfair that they're making each other.
That's not true though, right?
What do you mean?
Okay. I'm trying to think. Well,
They state in the movie that they switch during the trick, but surely in life they must switch other times.
Does the trick come after Sarah enters Rebecca Hall's character enters the film? Because they pull that
Yes.
trick on her right when they meet her.
Yeah, it does.
Oh yeah, because
that's right, 'cause he's in
presumably
the-
has been going on his whole life.
Yeah.
Because they make a point with the little Asian man that when he has dedicated his life to this trick, so he's doing it. So we're presumably it's the same thing with the twins.
Right.
So before they introduced the trick, when did it happen?
Like around, like when they went to the bathroom, or because you never see that in movies when people go to the bathroom.
I feel like this movie has it's very ambitious. The Prestige I'm talking
Yes, it
about.
is.
Yeah.
And it tries Christopher Nolan's like, oh, I know what I'm doing. I have this. And it kind of, if you actually think about it too closely, it kind of just falls apart.
Oh, I don't think so. I think it's really taut. I think that he keeps it.
It's like Hugh Jackman has, his double in the movie, and then he kind of, it's like, oh, they mentioned like, oh, he sold out to Christian Bale's character, and then it's like the end of his, double, which, and then
Cat's making
it's
noises
gone,
while
like
scratching their eyes.
his double, for that performance he uses, the alcoholic actor.
But it's
That
Oh, I
definitely,
see that
Rue,
double.
yeah.
it's
Gotcha.
definitely
Yeah.
been written off at that point, though, because
But then
Angier, by that point, his act is ruined. He breaks his leg.
Yeah, and he's so
Like, he's
obsessed
totally
with.
humiliated during that trick.
I don't know.
And so he's so obsessed with, getting his revenge against Christian Bale that he goes off to Colorado Springs to try to top his trick.
just feel like, and then he gets a machine that actually doubles, and whatever, doubles
Nikola
himself.
Tesla.
What did Tesla do for Christian Bale's character?
He just made him a machine that did the sparks, like just for the
Just the
showmanship. I think all the
sparks.
solution
Okay.
is that, Danger believes that he made him a machine that would actually transport him because he does not know it's a twin, it's a secret.
Why would
And
Tesla
so-
do that?
Because Tesla needs money, because that damn Edison
But
has-
Tesla was so adamant that no, I don't want to do this trick for yours.
But I think he just made him for showmanship. Like,
Okay.
okay, here's a fancy machine that will do sparks and it will be very nice.
You do a fantastic David Bowie
give
as
me
Tesla.
money so I can torture
thought
my
that was
cats.
Tom Skerritt. I said, "Oh yeah, that's Tom Skerritt, right, Bobby?" And he goes, "No, that's David Bowie."
I
I'm
thought
like,
he-
"What?"
I thought he kind of looked like Sam Neill.
I will admit,
I think he looked exactly like David Bowie.
he didn't look exactly
I
like David
don't
Bowie.
think so.
But I will admit that I knew David Bowie was in the movie, and the first time I saw it, I was like, "Who's that guy?"
It's Sam Neill.
Oh, that's David Bowie.
yeah.
Also, shout out to a non-CGI Andy Serkis. As his,
Right, that is
assistant.
nice.
He deserves more FaceTime.
Yeah.
He's so great.
He's great in 13 Going on 30 as well. Those romantic comedies. I'm so fond
You're gonna have to
of.
defend that sometime.
I know it's not
cute. It's
fresh.
actually a cute movie.
It's not fresh.
We have some notes from my mom. She does not want to get on camera. You're wrong about the Ed Norton guy. He was not a jerk.
Thank you.
Oh, there's more? Oh, you just want to... Wait, what?
You're gonna keep that in your file.
What and then another thing that says, I did create a new person... Oh, it did create a new person in time?
In
Wait, what?
Prestige, the magical Tesla
yeah.
machine.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
that's what he did for Hugh Jackman, but I was wondering what he did for
Christian Bale.
Batman,
For-
Christian Bale.
For Batman, that's right. Yeah. Oh,
That's
it's okay. No, that brings us to the next important point. So when Hugh Jackman goes to Colorado Springs to... Thank you for that.
Thank you.
When he goes to Colorado Springs, he throws all kinds of money at Tesla, who is just at the forefront of science and discovery, and makes an actual machine that duplicates human flesh.
A straight-up cloning machine, guys.
I know.
Not just human flesh. Hats as well.
Hats
Well,
and cats.
There
and
has
bats
to be a better
and rats.
application for this thing than magic tricks. This
So,
is a cloning
Again,
device.
what happens after every act when Hugh Jackman clones himself? Does he
So-
just shoot him?
No,
he
that's what
drops
it's-
He
in-
drops him into the
So
tank.
he has set this up.
You remember
to be his
there was
ultimate,
the row after
yeah.
row of
Oh,
tanks.
that's
After
right.
he
Yeah.
discovers
Okay.
that he can do this, this is his plan
Okay.
to get
Right,
Christian
Christian-
Bale and frame him for his murder. And
He's
so,
a straight-up murderer, yo.
yeah, he kills
of
himself,
himself.
every night.
Copies of himself.
Because he's a crazy man.
He doesn't know if he's the man in the box or the man in the Prestige.
Super twist, so dark. Love it.
I'm pretty sure he's the man of the Prestige. Because if you make a cloning machine,
to
you're
that
not going to... The one that stays in the same spot, that's not going to be the clone. It's going to be the thing that gets created elsewhere.
But then a version of him will be in the box.
Yeah.
And that's,
And they keep his consciousness up until that point. So
Yeah.
You imagine
Well, we don't
something
know.
happens and then he comes to and he's either the man in the balcony or the man.
That would have been
He never
interesting
knows
to
what he's going
explore.
to be. That's exciting. Oh, it's so dark and awesome. I love it. And also, I don't want to drown. There are lots of drownings in this movie, and I'm not a fan.
No?
But you see, like from the get-go, I think Christian Bale is a horrible person because
Well, the mean brother's not a nice person.
Well, he lets whatever version it is who kills Hugh Jackman's wife.
That's not on purpose. He's just
With the wrong knot. He's just arrogant.
he's just arrogant.
Yeah, but and then it's like
It should be said, too, though, that she gives him the okay to change the knot.
Yeah, she's on board. He's not a straight up murderer.
I don't know.
He's just a blowhard.
yeah.
Yeah.
You just I mean, like I think at that point his cockiness, you're kind of just like you don't like him, but by the end he's vindicated. Spoiler, sorry. Like we said.
We're
don't-
full of spoilers.
Yeah.
I don't know that he's vindicated
He is. He gets his daughter and he kills Hugh Jackman.
and loses his brother.
Yeah.
Yeah. And his
And that's still the
livelihood.
I
next
think they
one.
both destroy each other pretty
Yeah.
hard.
Their commitment to their bit is just, both their lives are ruined forever. They're,
And they're both so obsessed with his career. Borgin has no career when it's done.
yeah. And that's interesting.
Or
I would
Fallon.
love to know what happens next with them.
I do. I was happy to realize that when we realized, there's two Christian Bales. It explains how Batman survived the nuclear explosion off of the coast of Gotham City and somehow made it into France or wherever he did with Alfred. It's like, okay, there were two of them. That totally clears that up.
The gruff, angry Batman died in the explosion, and the nice one gets to live with Anne Hathaway.
Yeah. So,
A little bit confusing that his name is Alfred, and then Alfred from Batman is in it as well.
Like,
Yeah.
guys, this makes no sense.
yeah. So what else? We've talked a lot about The Prestige. Do we want to talk about The Illusionist?
Yes.
No. So in this,
It only focuses on one.
Oh, only one.
Only one.
There should be like
person.
3 or 4 magicians in this.
Edward Norton plays
is he a twin or something?
Eisenheim.
Eisenheim. And he is he's done illusions his whole life. He kind of had a rough childhood. His dream girl disappeared or is taken
Well, she's
away.
a duchess and he's poor,
Yeah.
and they love each other, but they can't be together.
It's sad.
And then they meet up years later.
But she's engaged.
She's
to-
engaged to a cad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rufus,
With the
the
prince.
aforementioned Rufus Sewell,
course.
the awful Rufus Sewell.
Yeah. And then so Edward Norton, Paul, I guess it's like actually framed from Paul Giamatti's point of view.
Yeah.
Like
The best choice the movie could have made by having Paul Giamatti in it, because he is always
He's
amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of through
Edward
his
Norton's
like
always strong,
he
too.
doesn't.
He's good too, but as we've established,
What have we established?
as we established, he's kind of a jerk
Yeah, he's
in this movie, as well as potentially in real life.
yeah. So we've heard.
So Edward Norton. So Paul Giamatti's kind of he doesn't really trust his act, Eisenheim's act, and he thinks that he's doing something shady and he's kind of trying to figure it out. And anyway, it's kind of like an unfolding of the story. It starts. It's kind of it plays with time too, kind of like Prestige. Starts at the end and kind of
They
explains.
both did
itself.
that. They both had the narrative
the narrative
of somebody who's not one of the mains. One of the protagonists.
story.
They had the in media race starting, so that was
Yeah.
interesting as well. And as many similarities as they're very different movies too. So that was kind of fun.
Yeah. And then this one's ultimately mostly just a love story that they want to be together but can't be, and she's potentially engaged to the sadistic prince, and so
Yeah, so she pisses him off by revealing that she is in love with the illusionist. She pisses off the whatever, Leopold.
Prince.
Yeah. And he, as it seems, kills her. She turns up dead. And it seems that he did it. And then what happens?
And then Eisenheim starts having these shows that have these ghosts appear on stage, and so it's kind of interesting. Then she comes on, Jessica Biel's character. I can't remember her name.
Jessica Biel's ghost.
Yeah.
Sophie.
Sophie, yeah.
And then she says, she alludes to the count being the one who killed her, and so anyway, Paul Giamatti is kind of trying to unfold and figure it out. So, and then, do you guys want to spoil it?
They
or-
straight up framed him.
Yeah.
They planted got him drunk and planted her necklace and some jewels off a sword in some hay bales.
And not even a crime of opportunity. Like, oh, they had a fight, so let's fake her death and frame it on him. This is like, no, they even planned the fight and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Give her a fake makeup wound and pull some kind of Romeo and Juliet potion on her to pretend that she's dead.
To be fair, though, the fight is her saying, I don't want to do this, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's her leaving him.
He's a jerk.
And he
100%.
gets up as though he's going to physically harm her pretty bad. Whether or not that was under the dress of drugs or alcohol or something.
In movie world, he deserved to die. 100%. In the real world, it's a little fuzzier.
And ultimately presented with the choice of being accused for murder and then having his plot to overthrow his king, which is probably the more damning, actual guilty thing. He ends up killing himself.
Yeah.
So Edward Norton's responsible for someone's death.
Yeah.
And he is our hero.
That's what you always look for in a hero. I know in all
He's
my
kind
action...
of an anti-hero as well.
In all my action movies, the protagonist ends up killing people, and I like them, so...
That's a good point.
Is he an anti-hero, though? I mean, he's more the little guy going up against the big machine.
I think he's a straight-up hero. He's just...
But he's
when you look at things a little more closely, you're like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
But he's a magician, so he's so smug. Just the way magicians are so full of themselves.
Lauren
you know?
is on record about not liking magicians. She doesn't
So you don't like Joe?
She doesn't like the what was it again? The Now You See Me.
Because they think they're cool. I like magicians, but I like a magician who's having fun with it and knows, like, I know this is silly, but it's fun and I'm a showman. But Eisenheim is one of those Now You See Me kind of magicians who's like, we're gonna blow your minds because magic is the coolest thing ever. I'm Jesse Eisenberg and I'm a badass. Magic is the only thing that could let Jesse Eisenberg feel like he was a badass.
Magic is very cool.
Magic is very cool. I like it a lot. But you know how magicians get.
This is how I feel about Dane Cook.
You know how magicians... Yes.
Comedy is not cool.
That's it.
Comedy is about digging into all your little insecurities and bringing them to the forefront. And he's coming out with being all flashy like Job. Ugh.
And then when he does his magic tricks, they're so
They're the worst.
And magic is the same. Magic is
Illusion.
about...
Tricks are what a hold is from.
And magic is the same. Magic is wasting your childhood in your room playing with rubber balls.
Wait, you're
and
talking about
cards.
Magic the Gathering. What were you going to say,
Magic's
Bobby?
awesome. No, I disagree. When I was a kid, I thought magic was like the coolest
No,
thing on the
magic is the coolest, but it's not cool.
planet. No, Lauren, I don't think you understand. Magic is the coolest
You're-
because it's awesome.
Your
I'm
David
totally
Blaine's and your Chris Angels, I am not down with.
I'm honestly confused about your distinction between the cool.
I
If you had
have no
asked me
idea
when I
what's
was in
going
third
on
grade,
right now.
who do you want to be when you grow up, Bobby? I would have absolutely said David Copperfield.
But that's cool because he's cool. Because
Well,
he has fun with it.
He was
Does he,
also
though?
married to that one woman.
He made the Statue of Liberty disappear.
He did.
Which we totally looked up. We did the one thing
yeah,
that
yeah.
you're not supposed to do according to Prestige. We look up how you do these tricks.
Yeah. And it was interesting.
They're still interesting. The movie Prestige
like
suggests
knowing
that
that.
don't give anyone the trick because the trick impresses no one. It's the, magic of it.
Yeah.
That's cool. Like the answer. But I'm always impressed by the answer. I think it's cool.
I think in theory, I think for your basic tricks, it's okay to reveal it. That's what you push yourself to go for.
If you
Yeah.
obsess about it, you end up getting Tesla to make a machine that will make the Statue of Liberty. clone.
Into two statues of liberty.
Even more
You'll
freedom,
have
y'all.
to kill one. You'll have to kill one.
So back to The Illusionist.
Yes.
Okay, so this is the movie that I thought was lesser when they came out. Like, still a fine, nice movie.
There's a lot to be
but
liked in
fun.
this movie.
There's a lot that's good about it. There are things that
Paul Giamatti.
I enjoy. Paul Giamatti is great. It looks beautiful.
I like the film, the way it's shot.
Prague. I like that they went for moody kind of early film looks, like blurring the edges
Yeah,
on
that
the
was fun.
flashbacks, make them kind of sepia toned. There's a moment in the movie that I really liked when they're telling the story of his origin and how he met like a magic man that did some tricks, and then it gets kind of fantastical where he's like, and then, you know, some stories say the magic man disappeared, and then he disappears, and then some stories say the tree disappeared, and then the tree disappears.
I thought that was weird. I thought that was strange.
I like that, though, and I wish the rest of the movie could have matched that tone. Like, that was a weirdly whimsical, fun part, and then the rest of the movie was very...
If by whimsical fun you mean cheesy, I'll agree.
A little cheesy, but like, if
Okay.
the rest of the movie could have captured that tone, I'm just like... But like, the rest of the movie didn't fit that. Don't you agree?
No, that felt like something more a Big Fish than this movie.
Yes. Maybe I just wanted to watch Big Fish.
Maybe.
Yeah, Big Fish is great, by the way. But I think it was weird in the movie how he had all these tricks and it kind of unfolded in front of Paul Giamatti, like he was figuring it out, but we, the audience, didn't get to see like how he was doing all of the illusions, like the tree, and you know, kind of we through the picture we saw, oh, it's a mechanical tree, but you know, just like we didn't actually get to see it. Like I would have liked to see the process of it. You know,
I agree with that. And the Prestige really did show how things were going.
Yeah,
it was very cool.
That was neat. Something that made me mad about The Illusionist when I saw it. We give them kudos because it's showing actual tricks that were done in the 1880s. Like, these were things that stage musicians were actually doing. But because of the way it's shot and the level of, you know, is it real, isn't it, that they're trying to question, these tricks are not accomplished in a way they could possibly have been done.
Yeah, they're clearly
like,
CGI and stuff.
Yeah,
right?
and even just...
Or even just an actor.
Yeah, it's not something that someone... Like, the Pepper's ghost, like we talk about, when he's making the ghostly apparitions disappear, that's a very popular trick, but the way they did it, where it's shot from many different angles, and there's a ghost child at one point walking through the aisles, like, well, that was straight up impossible.
Because it's shot against... It's a projection onto a pane of glass, correct?
Like they do in Haunted Mansion, we've discussed, like the ghosts are done this way.
So
we talked about like maybe smoke, but it's a very clear room. Like there isn't smoke to be projected
this
on.
kind of thing. Yeah, they suggest that that's it, and so
and also when they did the demo, like, well, this is a rough idea of what it could have done. You know, they're showing it to Paul Giamatti early in. They used the loudest projection ever. And it's like, well, why didn't we hear that when he was...
Well, and that's not how it would have been done, of course. And
I get really. I guess it could have been behind. I don't know. Whatever.
Yeah, like it would have been done. They would have had the pane of glass on stage, and there would have been an actor off stage, and just it would be angled in such a way that the light would hit the glass. But so you could only... These are tricks that only work from a proscenium, and so in the movie, where as he is trying to keep up the illusion that these are real and that it's actually Jessica Biel's ghost, like we're shooting the ghost from every angle and close-ups on the face, it's like, but
we see it from his point of view. Yeah.
And if the ultimate answer in the movie is that it's all fake, well, then you're liars.
I agree.
As all the dumb Viennese start thinking it's real and are losing their minds and thinking that Eisenheim is, you know, communing with the dead.
I think magic in movies is rough anyway, because a lot of the fun with magic is the being there and seeing in person, being how they do that. When you're watching the movies, you're like, well, we know how he did that, special effects, or you know, even if they didn't, that's as a viewer, that's your perception. Yeah. Anyway, that's off the top.
Even as we're talking about it now, I'm going to go back to the Prestige because that's interesting. Like it kind of reminds me of everyone trying to explain to. Hugh Jackman's character, like, no, he's using a double. And he's like, no, he's not using a double. That's ridiculous. And then as the audience, you're like, yeah, we would know it. We'd see the seams if he was making a double. But you have Fallon on screen the whole time as kind of like a way of it. Like, it's like almost a meta way of reassuring the audience, like, no, it works, you know, because you're falling for it too.
Yeah.
There was one trivia I looked up that tickled me, that in this era, it was very common to use twins for the transported man. It said,
so
like, this is the
out.
greatest trick he's ever done, and like, no one can even be like, how's he doing it? There's no way that he's a twin. It's never twins. But apparently it was very common in this era for twins to do the transported man. But maybe he was the first. After this, everyone picked it up.
Maybe.
But the movie's conceit is, of course, that this is the trick that will win him all the money.
Well, we are living in a world where up until Christian Bale's character, there's never been twins in the world. This is an anomaly, and the first time in the history of mankind, twins.
Also, Hugh Jackman has really bad surveillance, and for if he wants to figure out like how Christian Bale does it, he does a really poor job of trying to figure it out.
Well, he was relying on himself and Scarlett Johansson, and
Bad call.
that's a bad choice.
Bad.
Also, all the assistants are really bad at picking volunteers from the crowd because they are invariably people trying to figure,
Right.
rival magicians trying to figure out the trick.
Photos of Christian Bale in various degrees of beard because he's just going to come on and try to screw up the trick.
I like it at one point, like, Scarlett Johansson is looking, she's like, well, this disguise isn't going to work. You need a better disguise. And he just comes in with a big giant mustache.
But it's exactly Fallon's facial hair.
Is it?
Yeah, it's totally Fallon's facial hair.
But Fallon had the facial hair. They had prosthetics.
Yeah.
They had a hat. He had a hat on all the time, covering a lot of his face. So
When I was watching it this time, and then Laura sort of vaguely remember the twist, but not totally. Every time they showed Fallon, I'm like, oh my god, it totally looks like Christian Bale.
It does look like Christian Bale.
But I feel like an idiot because I totally didn't see it the first
I
time.
don't know that I agree.
Yeah.
I didn't see it the first time, and
think-
I didn't think it looked like him. I thought it looked kind of like Sam Rockwell. I mentioned that.
He did such a.
Yeah.
I don't
kind of. I think. Didn't you say that Christian Bale looks like Sam Rockwell, or reminded you in this movie?
Did I?
Sorry,
don't know.
you that Sam Rockwell reminded you of Christian Bale in this movie, or vice?
I don't think I did.
Oh,
but
I thought
maybe
you
I
said
did.
something
I don't
like
know.
that. Maybe I was wrong.
It is so funny that we don't see it because Fallon is so there and so mute for so much of the movie. That's like, what's the deal with this Fallon guy? Surely.
I noticed that it
But-
was really weird. Like, it's disconcerting. Like, especially when he picks up the girl in the other room, Rebecca Hall and,
But it was so
Christian Bale are
effective.
fighting, and he
Yeah.
picks her up.
It was
And
so sweet.
In retrospect, though, because I didn't see it the first time, it does feel like, oh, I should have seen this, because even if I didn't recognize that as Christian Bale, he's such an odd character because he's very quiet. And
Yeah.
it's like, why isn't this pretty
We should have
prominent
been more
character
suspicious.
talking more? Yeah, I really feel like I should have been more suspicious.
But I think the movie was so successful with its misdirects and its drama
Yeah.
that
Like a magic trick.
Exactly, yeah. That's. So you thought the movie worked really well.
I really do. Since I first saw it, I really loved it, and I think
You
it's so
didn't
neat.
think it worked out.
no, I don't know. This movie annoys me a lot. I don't know. It just like, it's so smug. You guys are talking about smugness. This movie is so smug. And I just like, I watch it and I just like, oh my God. I mean, I get it. Like, it's like he tries really hard. He constructs a really tight story with, like the timeline jumps around and you have to pay attention, but it just annoys me a lot.
Do you like Chris Nolan? Just out of curiosity.
Yeah, I
Okay.
do. I like a lot of his. I really like Memento a lot.
Did you feel it worked for you, Bobby?
The Prestige?
Yeah.
Yeah, I really
Okay.
like The Prestige.
I can't put my finger on, but it mostly works for me. I think a big part of the problem is the fact that everything up until Tesla has been very real world. And then it goes from, this isn't a trick, it's become science fiction when Tesla gets into
But I
it.
love that.
I think, but there's a thematic shift there too.
Yeah.
I mean, like,
The pacing's weird in the movie. Like, I know it shifts around a lot, but it's like, you think like, okay, this is going to be like, you can't, like, there's not the beginning, middle, end, like the typical story. It's like it has like,
there are 3 different timelines.
It's
It is-
Tarantino's it.
yeah, it's it's a little mind boggling.
But with the Tesla thing, it is, at that point, Hugh Jackman's character is going from, like, thinking of really reasonable ways to do the transporting man to, like, going nuts and, like, defying science and going someplace really dark. Like, I think that's why it works.
Yeah. And it matches the tone of the era that science was the magic and science was
Okay.
bringing in a whole new conceptualization of life and bringing people away from just spiritual and mystical into a grounded reality. So I love that the limitless promise of scientific discovery eventually brings us back to something magical.
There are limits. That you can't just clone things that easily, actually.
But maybe you can because Tesla was a genius.
That is weird. You have to, kind of suspend your disbelief
But
a
it's
little
so
bit.
great.
Like, oh yeah, no, he can just clone himself and he has like infinite, so he can ultimately
obviously,
charge
it's magic.
Christian Bale.
But that's the point of a magic trick, isn't it? You have all these magicians trying to chase this, trying to create some sort of real illusion, and the audience is suspending disbelief to let themselves be fooled. But then they discover real magic in the world, and us as an audience obviously have to suspend disbelief to accept that Tesla and Andy Serkis made clones.
And there's an immediate consequence that's introduced with that too. I mean, it's not like it's not like, oh, we can just clone people and we can fix something. It's we can clone people and oh my god, we can clone people. It's not.
Is
Or
there
have
an
it rot.
immediate consequence though?
Yes.
Cats hate each
There
other.
are for the clones. They get killed.
Yeah. Hugh Jackman has to face the fact immediately that in order to use this machine, in order to do this trick that he's at this point devoted his entire life to figuring out, he has to kill himself every time he does the trick. He has to risk being the person who gets killed every time he does the trick.
Because his revenge is worth that, apparently.
Yeah, but I don't know. I disagree with you about that. His feeling that sort of.
It is. He doesn't
Heaviness
sit with
of
it until
that.
the very end when he says, like, oh, do you know how hard it was having to kill yourself? It's like, didn't really feel that hard when it
Yeah.
happened.
No,
No.
I think that was always there, but I mean, he was
'Cause
so driven.
They go back to the very first time he uses the machine, and he has a look
Yeah,
of
but
horror
it
on his face.
doesn't-
Yeah, but
look-
it's like, oh shit, him or me.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
Like, oh my gosh, like, I
not
took
like
that-
I'm going to kill a man that is me.
But in
Yeah.
that moment of that knee-jerk reaction, but then later his choice is to do that every night in a horrible way.
And that's what I'm saying. I don't feel he sat with it
Yeah,
And it
In
what-
that first moment? Or
at
later
all. I don't think they didn't really show him going like, wow, is the revenge really worth it to me? It just got to the very end where he's
But
like,
even if he's not wrestling with the feeling of I have to kill another person, he's wrestling with the feeling of I have to put myself in a position where I might be the one who's killed.
And I think he knew that, but he was
I don't
so
think he
taken by his
cares, though.
obsession. But I think that was the thing, that he was so taken by his obsession that he put that to the side because it was all serving his
I was
revenge.
saying I didn't really see it.
Why?
I didn't feel it.
Because it's an illusion. Because he's crazy by that point. He's straight up cray-cray.
Hey, do you think when Rue gets the Hugh Jackman's double,
Okay.
when he
so
gets
fun, right?
when he
Who doesn't love drunk, silly Hugh Jackman?
To be
double?
honest, I kind of wish that Hugh Jackman had not played his own double.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I loved it. Who could have done the Hugh Jackman
I
double?
don't know.
his stunt double.
Who was
That actually
who's
did
his
feel like a
handsome?
cheat to me. I'm like, oh, this guy who looks exactly like Hugh Jackman's going to be his double.
Especially in a relatively small community. I mean, it's
Yeah.
it's London, but it's like,
And if your twist later is twins, like having Hugh Jackman basically have a twin diminishes that a little bit,
No,
I
that
think.
guy had like a big nose and his hair was different.
and he had the
And he
teeth.
had a teeth and a British accent. Oh wait, Hugh Jackman had a
And he
British
drank a lot.
accent.
Oh, we should have an
Oh, man.
No,
Hugh Jackman,
I don't know.
he didn't have a British accent, right? He had a...
The Rue
the
character?
Rue.
No,
Rue,
yeah.
Rue had a British accent.
Hugh Jackman had a American
He was an
accent, right?
American. yeah.
He was faking an American accent until we discover that he's actually Lord Cordlow. And he's been pretending to be American the whole time. Everyone's
Or
forgetting
was he
this part.
pretending to be
Wait,
Lord
what?
Cordlow?
I thought he was pretending to be
Yeah,
Lord Cordlow.
that's what I
No,
thought.
no. He says early on in the movie that Piper Perabo, his wife, is telling him, like, well, you changed your name. He's like, yeah, but that's because my family, didn't want me disgracing them. It's because
that's
he's
right, yeah.
really a lord with all of this money. He's pretending to be an American magician because he loves the craft.
Wow, that's interesting.
Just blew your mind, didn't I?
Yeah. Okay, so back to this Rue guy.
Okay, good.
When he turns on Hugh Jackman, just got to feel like Michael Caine was at fault because he was pretty much treating him like shit quite a bit. I think I would have turned on their group too.
Well, that's a good point.
Just something to think about.
They were trying to keep him in line.
Michael Caine was.
Michael Caine.
Michael Caine. If this were another bad movie podcast, I would totally break into my bad Michael Caine
We'll do
impression.
your bad Michael Caine.
Hello, I'm Michael Caine. No, that's not.
That's
not
great.
it.
I love it. I was an Alfie.
I was an Alfie. I will do anything for money.
He's a traitor in this movie
Why is he a traitor?
because he almost don't you think he pledges his loyalty to Hugh Jackman and then
Until he
at the-
finds out what a scoundrel Hugh Jackman
I can
is.
see your
Yeah.
argument, and
Yeah.
I'm wondering when the exchange happened where he totally
let's
got
talk
on
about
Christian
bad
Bale's
people.
side.
Michael Caine is a really bad person too.
So-
No, he's not. He's
Yeah.
wonderful.
Cutter's kind of a dick.
It's Michael Caine. Well, he's a little bit of a dick, but
And also, maybe he shouldn't be the one to break the girl out of.
Oh, go on.
When the girl's been in the water tank too long, maybe you don't have the 70-year-old guy be the one to break her out, to
he's
use the
fit.
axe to. Yeah, he's well
he's
fit.
from MI6
He's well fit,
as
but
Alfred. Maybe
I still feel maybe a younger guy.
that's fair. You feel
Anyway.
like Hugh Jackman would have taken
Yeah.
the axe from him.
No,
And
that
Broken his
exactly.
way.
Oh, that's what you're gonna say? Sorry. Or
Yeah, I was going to agree with you.
oh, okay, cool.
The one thing I'm not sure I'm like totally on board with Cutter doing too was kidnapping Fallon and trying to extort the trick out of him.
It was a little weird.
That felt weird.
If you're
Burying
gonna
someone alive
kidnap
feels weird. I'll
Fallon,
agree.
why wouldn't you know? See, that's why I think Cutter was in on it, because if you kidnapped Fallon, you'd be able to tell that it was Christian Bale's twin. Like, I don't care a prosthetic nose or a wig. You'd be able to tell that they were twins.
Pretty good.
I don't know. They quickly locked him into the
And I
casket,
think they
too.
locked him in the casket. They weren't really looking at him. And I feel like at that point they're not.
But
really
they had to let him go, and at that point,
No, they buried him
Buried
alive.
him in
Yeah.
the casket.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, and I think he was just in the casket the whole time, and then they buried him alive. Another terror. And then, and so they never really got a good look of him. And so I think the prosthetics were good enough.
I agree.
That's not quite a drop yet in the storyline.
You know what I noticed? When you're taking notes during a movie after 2 years of taking notes for bad movies, it immediately makes you not like the movie. So I had to stop taking them because I'm
We're
like,
too critical.
I'm only writing negative things down. Because I'm supposed to like these movies. I have to stop doing this.
I'm going to give them credit. I didn't write very much down because they were enjoyable.
Yeah.
They were certainly.
you have to pay really close attention in the
That's
Prestige.
true,
too.
too.
Yeah.
You can't go off for a second. I missed the part where they buried him alive.
taking
I saw
notes.
them in there in the casket, and then I don't remember. I didn't know what happened.
Yeah, when they meet in the graveyard.
Oh,
they,
that's right. I
exchange
thought it
the
was just the
book.
book that he.
Yeah, he's like, go
Okay.
dig him up. I'm like, oh, okay.
That's what I thought he was talking about the book. See, missed one line, and there you go.
Back on the Illusionist, there was another thing. I'm just looking at the diagram that I drew in my notes because Sam and I were trying to figure out the locket that he gave her.
I've been staring at that for however long we've been recording, going like, those are interesting doodles.
That locket does
because the locket does not physically work. He makes a really cool, pretty locket with like a magic trick opening, but then from one shot to the next, it is not something that could exist in the world.
It's a totally fake thing. It looks pretty. It looks cool.
And that's another element of like the movie trying to do something. If it's on purpose, it's like an attempt
I
to
think
do
it's
something unrealistic.
Well, okay, this is great. The visual element of the podcast.
So
I
everyone
think
will
that
post this
the
on the
heart.
website.
I think it's like if you open it. See, like
okay.
you have one like that, and then the other one.
If you shift it, it
Yeah.
makes a heart. Like you twist this oval, and it makes a heart shape. But then the way she opened
Yeah.
it, then she moved aside one heart shape as if it was one whole piece.
And
Whereas
like there was a
should've been
hinge
seam.
here. Like
Like-
that's where it.
If you could open a piece here and a piece here, that would work. But it broke into like two solid heart shaped
I'm not
pieces.
going to lie. My brain shut off about 30 seconds ago.
And also, this is great for a podcast, all this visual stuff. But if you pull, they showed the majority of the underneath the heart, and there should be like a seam.
Yeah. There's a
Here
photo
on it.
right in the middle that is not broken. If it works, there would be like a line right
Yeah,
down the
it's-
photo. And if, I'll give the movie the credit, if it put things like that in there that would not physically work to be a suggestion of the mystical world
Like
of the
actual
movie,
magic.
there should have been more.
Did the tree bug anyone? I like no one has brought up that the tree, I get that the orange tree, that
Oh,
trick.
yeah.
I know it's a real trick. I know they kind of explain that it's just mechanical. Get over it. Like that is clearly a CGI tree coming to life in
Oh,
the
yeah.
moment.
Why they
And that's like
couldn't do
the
real
first trick they show him doing
And
in a
it's
show.
absolutely a famous trick that people did.
And how did the butterflies work?
They were mechanical butterflies. I want to go through their like videos online of the actual trick that I need to
Okay.
watch.
But so Eisenstein
So-
isn't clever. He's just Batman. He just like has a bunch of money to build stuff.
No, he's
Batman's
the Hulk.
not clever?
He is the Hulk. But as a kid, he's Quicksilver.
Good point.
Wait, what?
That
'Cause
was
he's- yeah.
because everyone. Cause
Oh,
we,
yeah.
We had well,
And Kick-Ass,
Let's
of
just
course.
touch on it now. The list we
Sorry.
made across the movies
Should-
of all of the people in the comic book movie world.
Yeah.
In The Illusionist, we've got Ed Norton as the Hulk, Paul Giamatti as Rhino from
Oh
Yeah.
my
Spider-Man.
god, I forgot about that.
The Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Baby Aaron Johnson, who grows up to be Kick-Ass and Quicksilver. And then Eddie Marson.
The lesser Quicksilver.
The lesser Quicksilver,
Yeah.
of course. And then even Eddie Marson, who is his theatrical agent, was in V for Vendetta, based on an Alan Moore comic. And then going over to Prestige, we got Batman, we've got Wolverine, we've got Black Widow. Andy Serkis was in Age of Ultron, and Rebecca Hall
right.
was in Iron Man 3.
And
And
Michael
And then, of
Caine.
course, Alfred.
And Alfred,
Of
yeah.
course, Michael Caine.
Yeah.
And then, if we're missing others, right into the show.
I think Coyote Ugly was a comic book as well.
Was it? Oh my god.
Yeah.
I in my head I often
so
mix
sorry
up.
right now to our listeners.
In my
This is
head,
interesting. What are you talking?
I often mix up the Jessicas, Alba, and Beale, and I know she wasn't in Fantastic Four, but has Beale not been
Gosh, that's a
anything?
good point.
No,
No.
Okay,
so
that's too
Really?
bad.
She survived Seventh Heaven. Wait, no, she was in Blade, right? Oh, snap. We forgot. I'm going to write it down.
Which I think makes more of a point that there are a hell of a lot more comic book movies than there are, hey,
Victorian magic movies?
Yeah. It seems to me like any major movie, you're going to get like 7 or 8 Marvel people.
That's fair.
In it.
Or it just means that these movies are casting very well.
So, anyone else have anything big to say before we move on to our segments, which I don't know how well they're going to work tonight?
Just the comment, even though, both movies are enjoyable. The big experience was this, after seeing The Illusionist once you know the twist, I feel like the movie suffers. Like, it's still pretty, it's still interesting to watch, but the rewatchability, I think, goes down because it's like, well, I know that this is fake, I know this is fake. Whereas The Prestige, I think you can get through several viewings of just, even if it's piecing together the pieces and trying to look for holes and not find them. I feel like it's more rewatchable than the other.
But I feel like there's more of a story too, and the way that the narrative keeps changing. I think that way you kind of have to rewatch it several times. The Prestige, to get everything. So, whereas The Illusionist is kind of just more like one story laid out. So, in that respect, you'd probably rewatch The Prestige more often.
Yeah.
Not that The Illusionist isn't worth watching, but that was certainly my experience. And like, once is good. It was sort of my reaction.
I would agree with that. So, Bobby and Laura, now it's time that you guys discuss gender politics in the movie we just watched as I get a text or something.
I got the eye of the tiger. Susan B. Anthony was on the dollar coin for a reason.
Stop objectifying me.
Gloria Steinem.
Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
Equal rights amendment was never ratified.
Rosie the Riveter.
Oh my God, Bobby, shut up.
Rosie the Robot.
Who's gonna make me my sandwich?
My body, my choice.
Blatant. Susan B. Anthony was taken off the dollar for a reason.
Beyonce.
I think that in The Illusionist, Jessica Biel is not a very well-rounded character. We're dealing with Victorian time too, when women didn't have that much power as they do in modern times. So, but they. She kind of. Well, actually, she did. She came around because she was.
She gets what she wants, even if it means killing a dude.
She's as strong as she can be. I don't think she gets enough screen time.
She doesn't kill the dude. Her actions
helps to kill a dude.
She drives a man to suicide.
Yes, thank you. There's a distinction there.
And it's in her own self-interest in a good way, not in the,
Yeah, and she does get the guy she ultimately wants. So
and that's all that matters.
Mm-hmm. And The Prestige is kind of a parade of women getting trampled over.
Yeah. Actually, I think The Prestige definitely portrays women in a much more negative light. Because you have poor Piper Paraboo getting killed at the beginning.
Poor Piper Paraboo.
She still gets that name though, so that's cool.
Who, I must say, Bobby disagreed with me, but I think she was totally miscast as Hugh Jackman's wife. I never would picture them together. I think that I thought that was the strangest pairing. I'm just like, she does not, and her accent, oh my gosh, it was really bad. Anyway,
I think she's barely in the movie.
But I think that another person in that movie could really have that, because Hugh Jackman is torn up over and distraught over her death from the beginning, and that he's so consumed with trying to figure out a way to take down Christian Bale. And so it's the catalyst for this movie. And I didn't feel she was significant enough to, her portrayal of that character was not significant enough to make me feel
like a good
sad.
Helen Mirren.
They'd be a hot couple.
So you're going to miss Helen Mirren.
But if you have Helen Mirren in your movie, you absolutely cast her as Angier.
Yeah, you're not going to waste her. You're going to tempest that shit.
I think though, and I guess this totally speaks to the gender roles in the movie. I don't know if that's Piper Paraboo's fault or Christopher and Jonathan Nolan's fault. I'm a big fan of Christopher Nolan, but I think he's kind of a robot. He's not really good with human relationships in his movies. And I think that is just kind of telegraphed in they're married. So of course they're married, of course they care about each other, and then we see her get killed. And that's kind of the work that the movie does for making us feel bad. So I don't know if I'd put that on Piper Parabo. I think I'd put that more on the screenplay of this film that I really like.
Well, anyway, I guess it speaks to the movie that it does not have very good female characters. So whether or not the actresses are good in those roles remains to be debated another day. But anyway, the characters are not
we're coming
very
back tomorrow
well.
to do that.
Yeah, and then Rebecca Hall, poor Rebecca Hall, man, she gets really wasted in this movie.
What?
She got so drunk. Oh my god.
I think, she got treated poorly.
And Scarlett Johansson too, man, she just disappears.
Rebecca Hall, only 24 when this movie was being made.
What?
She's so pretty.
So how young was Scarlett Johansson?
Probably around the same age, right?
Are they the same age?
Are they?
If they are now, they also were when the movie came out.
I thought Scarlett Johansson was younger.
She might be like a couple of years younger.
She's
What?
like 40.
While you're looking that up, you want to move on? Lauren, you've already touched on some of your IDOBM, IMDb trivia TM,
It's good ones.
but would you like to hear some more?
I mean, we've
Or
already
would you
had
like
some
to
good
give us
ones.
some more? Yeah, we have.
There were some interesting ones. Obviously this is the IMDb trivia, so it is not fact checked at all. It's just taken straight from the page. And so some of the interesting facts. All of the magicians in the movies had to go through intensive magic training. They were trying to avoid both movies CGI as much as possible. And so,
I call bullshit.
I mean, they still added some, and there was, as I will go into, they both had extensive training from James Friedman and Ricky Jay, two famous magicians. But obviously, James Friedman worked as a hand double for Ed Norton in the Prestige, in the Illusionist, and then there were certainly other bits of.
He wasn't the
CG.
guy who did it in Labyrinth, was he?
No, why?
There was-
Because of the
there was a
ball
thing
bit.
about- yeah, there was a thing I saw recently, the hand double for
I'll have to look at that.
for the aforementioned David Bowie for
Was
the
it
Labyrinth. Yeah,
That's- Oh, I should look it up. I wonder
yeah, I
what it
forget
is.
who it was. Oh, it was. Yeah, never mind.
And then, as just another bit of trivia, Ricky Jay also appears in The Prestige as the first magician that they work for that's doing the water tank trick, in which Piper Perabo dies. And so, fun cameo for him. And if you know, he's a famous magician and also appears in lots of films in like a weird character actor way. So, other interesting things. If we look at The Illusionist, Jessica Biel actually replaced Liv Tyler, who was dropped out of the movie shortly before filming began. And I feel like that was a good choice.
Probably.
I don't know. Like
Liv Tyler is more interesting actor
I like
Then-
Liv Tyler.
then who?
than Jessica Biel.
I like Liv Tyler, but I'm not sure how. Sometimes it's like too much, and I'm not sure I could have lived through her breathy Austrian accent through the whole movie.
Would she have done a breathy Austrian accent?
As she always does. Well, not the Austrian accent.
Liv
part.
Tyler and Jessica Biel were the first and second choice for it. I mean, like, I don't know who I would have picked, but they both feel like weird, odd men out in the
Yes,
cast.
I agree.
Jessica Biel, like, I think she did a good job, but for some reason it feels like you're not period. What are you doing here?
Yeah.
Like, you're so modern, even though you're doing a fine job.
I think Liv Tyler definitely would have portrayed.
Oh, you know who'd have
put that
been
image out
good?
there.
Kate Beckinsale.
Well, obviously.
Okay, back inside.
She's always good. And then let's see. So going into more trivia, there was a fun detail I liked from The Prestige, just to show the attention to detail that Nolan puts in. For all his human relationships, he's still really good at story details. So at the first exhibition of Teslas at the Royal Albert Hall, when he's got a big machine that's sparking off and people are fleeing in terror and they're like, no, it's perfectly safe, it's good. There's a man in the audience that shouts, it's unstable, and it's like really, alarmist. That same man later appears in Colorado Springs as one of Edison's henchmen. Because Edison, of course, famously trying to poo-poo alternating current and trying to tear down Tesla.
That's
And
fun.
That was a fun detail. I really like that one. And then, just sort of wrapping up, both movies deal with somewhat historical facts, which is kind of neat. They were both based on works of fiction, but pull in real things. Like Tesla really spent time in Colorado Springs doing experiments in the mountains. There was really a magician. It was an American, European-American who portrayed Chung-Lin Soo, a Chinese magician, to appeal to the desire for the exotic. And so
Mysticism of the Orient.
Yeah, and so did just like he does in The Prestige, spent, his life portraying this Chinese character and never appeared on stage as anything other than this until he died in 1918 due to a bullet catch gone wrong, which takes some of Borden's fingers in this movie.
It does.
And then The Illusionist also has its own thing. The story is slightly inspired by the real...
Sorry about that. Just bang my my microphone against my ear thing, my headphone.
That's all right. We'll cut that out.
No, we won't. We'll leave
No,
it
we
in.
won't. It's in because it's fun to see the working parts.
Yeah.
And then The Illusionist, Lest It Be Left Out, is actually based on a real story inspired by Austrian Crown Prince Rudolph around this time and his mistress, the Baroness. The Baroness Mary Vestera were found in a murder-suicide, in an apparent murder-suicide.
I'm not going to cut that out either.
Don't do it. It's terrible. This is famously called the Marling Incident, and it was hushed up by the royal family, and it was a very big deal.
Cool.
Wow. And that's it for IMDb Trivia.
Thank you. Let's talk about the movie we wish we'd seen.
Ugh, this movie is crap. I could write a better movie in my sleep.
And now, IDOBM presents the movie we'd wish we'd seen.
I know we actually liked at least one of these movies, each of us. Is there any part of it that anyone would like to see other aspects thereof? Laura?
Well, I think I would like to see a different actress for Jessica Biel because she, and not that she was bad, she was fine, but she just didn't feel very period, you know? And I think that it's probably because she was in Seventh Heaven and, you know, it's kind of hard to separate her from her character, Mary.
Did you watch Seventh
Camden.
Heaven?
No.
Okay.
But I just saw it enough to where, like, I think of her as very modern, so.
She doesn't belong in that family, by the way.
Very modern and
the
Christian.
But in the Seventh Heaven family, just to be, she does not belong in that family. In those pale white people, she's like the most tan, the most like slightly ethnic, and they never said she was adopted. It's very clear that she was. Sorry, that was just a side.
No, but anyway, I mean, it seems weird because you have Edward Norton, and then who is actually like quite a bit older than Jessica Biel by at least like 7+ years, and not that that's that old, but like he just feels like he's like a little bit more mature than she is. And anyway,
I felt that way too actually when I was watching it, but I was curious. I'm like, just leading men, they feel older to me in general.
yeah. So, and then I think I would have liked to see more of like showing the scene, the illusions, like how he did it, so then you could see it, and maybe make it not so responsible for the count's death at the end.
He's 12 years older than her, by the way. So yeah, good call.
So anyway, and then for The Prestige, I don't know if I can say what I want from that movie. That I don't know. Anyway,
cool. How about you, Bobby?
So for The Prestige, I already said that I kind of wish that Hugh Jackman's double had been played by a guy who looks convincingly like Hugh Jackman, and like as the
Who's
audience.
that lucky man?
Yeah.
Do you have his number?
But that way, like as the audience, we're kind of like, oh, I don't think this will work. I don't think this will work, and then when it eventually does work, you're like, oh my gosh, cool, it worked. But I really like The Prestige. The Illusionist, there's a weird distance, I think, that the movie has with Eisenheim, which I don't, there's a certain distance between the audience and the two leads in The Prestige, which I think is okay, because we're always kind of guessing with them, and we're not kind of focused on them as people as much as we are kind of their...
because you have two of them as well, so you're not as intimate with just one of them.
Right, and I think the Nolans as writers don't hone so much in on like their personal lives and their personal relationships, even though that does come into play in The Prestige. But I think that does feel like, that's the driving force of The Illusionist. It's a love story. So I kind of wish, I don't know. I guess I wish that it would hone in a little more on Eisenheim's motivations and kind of, he was written as a more fully realized character. I don't know. I don't know. I feel bad that my suggestion is like, I wish it was written better, but I wish it was written better. And I wish like Edward Norton hadn't played that role so sleepy, like for the whole thing. Like I get why he's kind of aloof when he's on stage, but we kind of get him like that in every scene. And so, I mean, I guess you're kind of guessing his motivations, but you never really click with him or empathize with him as a character. So that's my thought.
Cool. How about you, Lauren?
Prestige is perfect. And I absolutely agree. That was going to be my note, essentially along Bobby's line, that, yeah, to make, if it's just to sustain the mysteriousness and not being sure of Eisenheim, to try to make the twist and the mystery more convincing, I think that's a mistake. Because I agree that he is so just diffident and distant, and it's hard to care about him. And I want to, because on paper, it's so my kind of movie. Like, oh my gosh, they're in love as kids and they're torn apart and they meet again and this is going to be amazing. And I agree. And they're like, I just wish the movie was written better, because I would like more of that. I'd like to see more of the relationship of them as children. And then when they're together again, they are immediately in love again. And like after a conversation, they are super ready to go have kerosene lamp lighted sex in a time without reliable birth control.
Oh, if I met Jamie Causey, a girl I had a crush on in 5th grade, our marriage would be over. If I met her right now, because I had such a crush on her, and I mean, no, I'm just kidding. This is just a conceit in the movie that, you know, don't.
I'm gonna fuck her.
Sam's looking up on Facebook right now.
Fucking kill her.
Well, Bobby already knows if I meet like certain celebrities and they
That's
like me,
different.
we're done.
That list is laminated. That's different. But yeah, I think
they're not real people. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly. Like, your odds are so much better not to meet that person that you might as well have a few freebies. Like, wow, you had an opportunity to bang that person. Go ahead.
If I'm walking with Laura and we cross Ryan Gosling on the street, I know my only hope to
him out of
keep
the way, so.
Laura away from Ryan Gosling is to throw myself at him.
Yeah, if anything,
and
you
hope that
should
it
fight
works.
her for him.
Yeah.
That's because anyone would be lucky, man or woman or beast.
Wait, what are you talking about? I'm not looking on Craigslist misconnections from Jamie Causey. Wait, did somebody say?
I'm gonna cut her like a bitch.
Oh my gosh, Lauren, we're actually taping this, so you might want to cut that in case anything
she
happens.
knows. I want her to know, so she stays far away.
If my girlfriend Jamie Causey gets hurt, I'm going to go straight to you. And
I'm gonna fake her death. And, like,
My new happy place is Jamie Causey somewhere out there listening to this and going like, "Oh, Sam does remember me."
Bitch, you better not come anywhere near my husband. I will rip your ears off.
Oh, cool. So that's fun.
Yeah, that's fun. That's fun. I'm gonna murder her.
So I'm not going to do the movie I wish we'd seen because I can't really think of a good one. But there was something I was thinking about last night that the movie.
You can't think of a good one, so we all have to. No, that's good. I can't.
No,
think
you
of
all
one
did
either.
it.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Okay, so we all know, all men know that if they could suck their own penises, they would. Right?
Okay, I'm so sorry, everyone, for that. I don't know where that came from.
No, I want to know: is this true? I want to check it.
But-
I think it might be true, honestly.
Like, and is it? I would try it, or is it like, no, that would be my preferred masturbation method now?
I think it would be both.
So, or you sound like you were going to say something, Bobby. You were going to.
No, I was just going to
He's
say
gonna
that would be
confirm it.
amazing if
Bobby
that
was
was
just gonna
if
give-
that was Sam's bit.
No. I have
This would be
Bobby.
true. Moving on.
I have a little bit more.
Bobby was just
So-
going to give an emphatic yes.
Meanwhile, identical twins have the
Phallic,
same.
yes.
Meanwhile, identical twins have the same
sorry.
DNA, right? So they're essentially the same person.
Okay.
Or clones are essentially.
Or clones too. So
Right.
do you think that when they were a kid, or when they were like, I don't want to say kids, adolescents, that identical twins suck each other's dick?
Twins, I'm so sorry. Your mom is here to admonish you.
I've got
for
another
your-
note.
This is the best part of the podcast.
Oh, just she's telling us to. Oh, my mom's got a plug in. We'll save this for the plug section, or not the plug. The
The
things that need no
we-
defense.
Yeah.
Oh,
Crap, what's mine?
she threw off what I was saying.
Sucking your own cock. If you were identical twins, they're eventually the same person.
I don't know. Oh, that's another thing I was going to say is that this movie, there's a fundamental problem with it, is that my sister has this theory that with all twins, male twins, one of them is gay. So this movie is right out the window. It doesn't work because neither of the Christian Bale characters was gay. So,
And
that's all.
neither sucks each other's penis.
I think
Because you're the worst.
they must have.
No.
Here's a thought.
Not.
This is totally off of
We've all
this
seen
topic.
the Will Ferrell sketch.
Why doesn't Hugh Jackman just clone himself once?
What do you mean?
To do and then just do the trick?
Yeah.
Well,
Well, he doesn't know when Christian Bale's going to come to the show.
he
He doesn't know when Christian Bale's going to come to the show. He doesn't know when Christian Bale's going to come to the show. He doesn't know when Christian Bale's going to come to the show.
No, but I mean, then there's just 2 Hugh Jackmans.
That's too dangerous.
And yeah, that's good.
Yeah, because
We saw what happened with Rue. Somebody could get to the other.
Yeah, one of them could decide, oh, I don't want to die. Only like by committing in that single moment will.
Well, but I mean, like,
be able to live a normal
why
life.
kill any of them? Why not just clone himself once and then both of them?
Because he has
clone
to
me
successfully frame
Yeah,
Christian Bale
at
for
this
murder.
point, it's not about the trick. It's about
Yeah.
framing.
Yes.
Yeah, that's all it is.
Got
That's
it.
his
Yeah.
obsession now. Like he is willing to throw everything away in a stupid, stupid way just to get back at this guy. This guy.
Cool. So, one last thing before we do plugs, which is things that need no defense. Bobby, you want to defend? Do you want to recommend anything right now?
I do. I have one. Okay. Hang on. Boop, boop. Okay. Because since we're talking about magic, and
He's
we were talking
glowing
about,
right now.
I'm so
We're so
excited, guys. All right. Since and Lauren was talking about how magic should not be taken so seriously, falsely. She was saying this. Netflix just landed on Netflix.
Okay, I want everyone to just ignore this statement because this is really
He
dumb.
is smiling
I'm
so
so
big.
excited.
He's so excited, but don't watch it because you're
A series
bored.
of TV specials from the 90s called Breaking the Magician's Codes.
Oh, no.
Magic's biggest secrets
Is this the guy
finally
with the scary
revealed.
mask?
The
Yes.
masked
the
magician.
one who looks like he's gonna murder you.
He does
Yes.
look like he's going to murder me. I
It's
think that's
so
what will
good.
happen.
Or he's
It's
gonna
so
body
cheesy,
slam you.
and it's so
Yeah.
serious. There is no winking at the camera at all in these specials as he runs through how these elaborate magic tricks are done. It's so much fun.
That guy's out of the guild.
I saw that on Netflix, and I was debating whether or not to watch it. But if you say so,
Did you ever watch them when they were on TV?
I don't think I did.
I
I
know some bits.
I might have
would
watched
scan
a little bit,
TV Guide all the time, and when they were on, I'd get so excited. I'd
Guys,
keep
remember
them.
TV Guide?
Yeah. But anyway, treat yourself.
That's hilarious.
Also,
Now, how do you feel when the tricks are ruined? Do you feel sad?
no.
There's always more tricks, right?
I'm always.
And that
amazed.
was supposedly his point, was to like stop doing all these old tricks and bring out new
Well,
ones.
that is a big thing to demand.
Spoilers,
from the
yeah.
community.
In episode 4 of these specials, he unmasks himself and then says exactly what Sam said.
I don't
Okay.
want to see.
He's better with the mask
Was
on.
it David Copperfield?
It was David Copperfield.
What?
And then I think...
Wait, was it?
I think at the
No,
5th
I
episode,
forget
it's a
who it
new
was.
masked magician who's not as much fun.
Because the old guy got murdered.
Yeah.
Because
He got sawn in half and not put back together.
No prestige there.
Yeah.
And then also, friends of the show and past and future guests, Jesse McCann and Ronnie Roberts and Leah Tansy Roberts do these little live streams on Twitch called I think they're usually called Two Guys, a Girl, and a Bulldog Play, and they play bad horror games. Laura and I have been guests on it.
You guys should do it next. You guys should join us. Well, Jesse
If
would
you
love
would
to
give
do
us
it.
more than 2 hours notice, I would love to.
Sarah, who was a past guest on our show, has done it, and they're a lot of fun to watch, so you should look that up as well.
Cool.
Yeah.
How about you, Laura?
I've been rewatching Arrested Development,
Bless your
and
soul.
season 2 is perfect. Yes. Anyway, and so when I was watching both these movies, the line that Job says that tricks are what a whore does for money, Michael, was going through my head, and it made each one of them that much more enjoyable. Anyway, and then I started watching Mr. Robot, season 1. I think season 2 is coming, and it's really good so far. I only watched the first couple episodes, but it's interesting, so I enjoy it. Oh, and Game of Thrones is really, really good this season, everyone. I don't think that needs any defense, but yeah, I'm just letting you know.
Cool. I apparently forgot to turn off my phone like I usually do before the podcast, so if you hear the bong, that's what that is. Lauren, what have you got?
I think that... What is it?
Oh, I just eager to hear what you have to say.
Oh, that's very exciting. We just got back from a very exciting trip to... Oh, was that going to be yours?
No,
Okay.
just
And
we did.
I feel that visits to Prague and Nuremberg and Salzburg and Munich need no defense because they're beautiful and exciting and very fun. And also, I just watched this series on Hulu called My Mad Fat Diary. It's a British series that's only 3 series long. That's the British, season is a series just to be all like authentic. And it was a really good show. It was about this 16-year-old obese high schooler equivalent, and like the movie starts with her just getting out of a mental ward because she attempted suicide, and it's like her told sort of through her diary that her psychiatrist tells her to keep, and it's her, coping with life and drama and being, in this unstable mental state while trying to get through high school. And it was just it was gorgeous and beautiful, and like her dealing with weight issues and like making me cry because it's like, you're beautiful, just accept yourself, sweetie. And like it was wonderful, and I would highly recommend that. And I plowed through it in 2 days of just like sadness and joy because it was good, and I wanted to get to the end.
Awesome. Cool. Thank you. I am going to recommend a movie that I saw on Netflix called Hush. It is a home invasion thriller, which I'm not always a big fan of that because they kind of turn into like, it's like torture porn a little bit. And this one doesn't do that. It's about, I'm debating how much to give away, but I
Is that the one with Gwyneth Paltrow?
No. It's
Okay.
a bunch of people. I guess there's one person that Lauren,
Johnny G.
yeah,
Johnny Gallagher from Spring Awakening and other movies.
yeah, him.
Shows.
Gallagher.
Johnny G.
But
Yeah.
you're doing that voice for him,
him.
but you wouldn't do it if you saw the movie.
Well, I know.
Because
but-
he's...
He is so good in Short Term 12. That movie is really good, by the
yeah.
way. Yeah, you should watch it.
Yes.
And Brie Larson, Oscar winner, Brie Larson. Sorry, I'm taking
This
it
is
for you.
Bobby and Laura.
Oh,
Hijack
shit.
Sam's recommendations.
That reminds me, we saw Room on the Plane, but we'll talk about that later.
Aye.
Anyway, like I said, home invasion movie, but with a twist. The protagonist in it is a deaf girl. Ah! And so, obviously she can't hear things, and they really explore what that means, just as one, for example, which I don't know, maybe I shouldn't share it, is like, but also when she's creeping around trying to get away from him, she has to also keep in mind, oh, I can't hear how much noise I am making, so, how do I know if he hears me? So anyway, it was really cool. I really enjoyed it, so you should check that out.
Really scary.
If you like those movies. It wasn't as scary as I was anticipating. So, but I like horror movies, so.
But it was more suspenseful. It wasn't like
It was definitely suspenseful.
violent porn.
Yeah, a lot of like.
Should I watch
edgy
it in a dark room at like 2 a.m. tonight?
I did, not 2 a.m, but I watched it alone in the dark room. It was fine. It wasn't. Yeah, there was no like jump scares, nothing too scary.
Well, then this
And
is
then-
the movie for me.
And then my mom brought in another note. This is one last thing. Go see Finding Dory. The short before it is adorable. So
Will do.
yeah, we almost saw that, but we didn't. We will.
I would like to.
Fascinating story.
And plugs real quick. Upperclassmen has a show July 24th at the Long Beach Playhouse, 7 o'clock. Get your tickets from us on the website or just show up at the door. Anyone else have plugs?
It's time for me to take my pill. I'm going to plug that. I'm going to
Somebody
plug up
else
that
didn't
baby
turn their
hole.
phone on. So,
Cut that part out.
going around the room. Prestige or illusion? Lauren.
Prestige!
Prestige or illusion? Bobby.
Prestige.
Prestige or illusion? Laura.
I'm going to say neither, but if I had to
Oh.
choose
True
one,
Laura form.
I would have to go with
Oh.
The Illusionist. That was my main one, and I still like
Neither.
it better than The Prestige. I do not like The Prestige. I'm sorry. I know it's really well acted, but I just cannot get behind Christopher Nolan and Jonathan Nolan jerking off in front of the camera.
Wait, you did not watch the right
That's
movie.
the wrong one.
That was a Netflix, not a Netflix. That was a YouTube thing that you were not supposed to see. They took it off like within 10 minutes of it being uploaded. But I'm going to go with The Prestige as well. And I guess that's about it.
Can I
Thank-
say
Oh,
this
you
is
can.
this is totally random, but I looked up. Sorry, I'm so sorry. I looked up The Illusionist versus Prestige, and looked up to see if anyone else had any write-ups. I read about 4 of them. 3 of the 4 were totally Team Illusionist.
See?
Wow.
Yeah.
And that was my experience after seeing it. Everyone was like, oh, I love The Illusionist so much. I didn't really like that Prestige. Confused me.
Did you just, before we wrap up real quick, did you notice when they were written? Were they contemporary to
Both.
the movies?
Both. So one
Okay.
was like a few of them were same year, a few of them were a
Wow.
couple of years later. Yeah.
Wow, that's
Makes
crazy.
no sense to me.
Well, go figure. On that baffling note, I'd say thank you guys for listening and take care.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
Night, guys.
Are you watching closely?